Dr. Alan Hopkins, and I'm going to talk to you about the optimal metabolism and weight loss module that is offered. So it turns out this is a very, very important subject for so many people. Even people that are at their ideal body weight are curious as to their body composition. Some of us are at our ideal body weights, but maybe we have too much fat, too much belly fat. So it's really important to actually measure the hormones that our belly fat makes. You know, it used to be that we thought that the fat cells were just a storage place for energy. Well, it turns out the fat cells are far more significant, particularly our visceral fat or belly fat. These fat cells actually make hormones that trigger our brain, that our brain tells our body, hey, we're full and we can stop eating. When this cycle becomes dysregulated or just simply not working correctly, then we have all kinds of problems with overeating, not feeling like we're full. And so we find ourselves constantly looking for something else to eat, even when we know that we probably shouldn't be because we just ate. So measuring the fat hormones is particularly important and particularly helpful, and it's actually cutting-edge science. These are called advanced biomarkers, and they're an integral part of what we measure. Now, with weight loss, our pancreas turns out to be also an extremely important organ. Our pancreas makes insulin. And when we develop insulin resistance, it's actually more difficult for us to lose weight. How do you know you have insulin resistance? Well, it's probably hard for you to lose weight. But unless we actually measure your fasting insulin, we don't really know how your pancreas is working, and we don't really know if you have this thing called insulin resistance, where your insulin levels are really, really high. Now, a lot of women can develop what's called polycystic ovary syndrome. What is this? This is just a syndrome of insulin resistance. The insulin levels are simply just too high, and it messes up the signaling from our brain. It tells a woman's brain to go down to the ovaries and actually create more cholesterol and convert it into androgens, or more male-like hormones. Women don't do well with this, and they end up having hair growth, having problems with their periods, and of course they have trouble with weight gain because they have insulin resistance. Remember, insulin resistance is the cause that set off this hormone cascade. So when it comes to weight loss, it's really important to look at advanced biomarkers. And the really cool thing about this too is we're actually able to tell you whether or not you have a risk for diabetes or pre-diabetes, a condition that we also see prior to getting diabetes. Pre-diabetes in itself is increased dramatically in our country just in the last 20 years alone, and it's projected by the year 2050 95% of the population will be overweight or obese, and 1/3 of people will have type 2 diabetes. And these aren't my statistics, these are statistics coming directly from the Center for Disease Control. This is truly a tsunami of diabetes that we're going to be facing. And wouldn't you like to know today what your risk factors are? Because remember, it all starts with insulin resistance. We're going to measure what that pancreas is doing and how hard it's working. If the pancreas is already showing signs that it's working too hard, you're a setup for pancreatic failure. Remember, we need insulin to get our glucose levels down. And if your pancreas is already showing signs of having trouble, it's probably not going to last a really long time, and you're higher risk for diabetes. So I encourage each and every one of you to at least get this module done, and let's take a look at your metabolism. Let's try to find out why you're having trouble losing weight, and then let's coach you based on what these biomarkers show us and tell you what's the best way for you individually to lose weight. Because without testing these advanced biomarkers, and not a lot of doctors test for them, I think it's important to do so, we can dramatically help you. So I encourage you to get tested today.